Hey there guys, PC Guy here, and this video is gonna be about, well, you can guess. So I finally went ahead and I took my build out of the desk that I was using for several reasons. I mentioned it in a few videos ago, and yeah, it was a pain in the ass to actually do maintenance on it, clean the dust out, that sort of thing. It was always difficult to put in new hardware for reviews or any other purpose really. And well, it's not exactly partner friendly. If I wanted to, for example, try to get more review samples, that sort of thing, sent to me, it wasn't exactly handy to do reviews there because it's not a standard case. I could not take the results like temperatures, etc., that I got on that case and kind of imply that you guys would get the same sort of results in your own situations because it's just such a non-standard solution. It doesn't really apply to anyone. Now I still have to get rid of the old desk still standing there in the back, but I kind of felt like it was about time to do that if I were to try to grow the channel a bit more, make things that are a bit more relatable for everyone, and as cool as it is, it's a project that I cannot do a whole lot more of stuff with because, well, I just don't have the workspace to do any other adjustments. So yeah, this is the finished build. As you can see, I did do a nice little time lapse of the build process. I'm not sure how good that footage actually turned out. I still have to check it out. But in any case, here's just a small overview. So yeah, it's up and running, and I did do a few benchmarks before and after putting the build in. I did hit a few snags which I will go over with you guys in a while. Not exactly the case's fault, but the results of the benchmarks should be here on the screen for you guys to compare the before and the after. And well, cannot say it is an improvement temperature wise, but that's not the case's fault because you're comparing it with a very extreme situation. I had for example, the GPU temperatures are higher, but that's no wonder. I had three 140mm fans blasting cold air from outside right straight onto the GPU. So that's something I just don't get on a normal case, not even on a good case like this one. CPU R is also slightly higher, but same situation. It was such a big enclosure that it just acts like it's on open air, really, and you just cannot reproduce that on a case like this. With water cooling, yeah, it's a different story because of better contact and all, but you just kind of compare the two. So it's not fair to say that the thermals are worse because you're comparing it to kind of an open air scenario. Building was extremely intuitive, quite easy. The hard drive tray, for example, made it a lot easier to get that sort of stuff sorted very quick, very easily. The power supply is in a nice spot and it has plenty of room in the back for cable management. It still turned out a mess because I'm quite bad at cable management, to be quite honest, and the fans that I have are very long, very thick cables, plus the controller, so it's still a mess back there. It's still quite full, but it's not visible at all. I'll give you a closer look in a second. And yeah, I did hit a few snags, mostly because I just reused the pieces that I had from the desk, obviously. And I had three 120 fans, and all the others were 140. Give you guys a quick overview of the points that I feel like need to be highlighted. And I'll do that by actually holding the camera, so you guys probably gonna have a bit of shaky footage going on. So I toned down the RGB a bit so that you guys can actually see things properly. And as you can see, the mess in the back is not exactly visible from the front, so cable management wise, it's pretty decent with all the cable runs here, here. There's more at the top and more down there at the bottom, plus a few other holes that you can use for cable management if need be. Now, obviously, there's a few issues with this build, not necessarily Lian Lee's fault. For example, yeah, as you can see, my Thermaltake logo is upside down. That's a problem with this AIO I'm using, considering that the lines that are very short, and there's no way I can turn it around and still have the radiator here. It would be possible if I had it at the top, but like I said, I only had a very limited amount of these 120 fans lying around, 3 of them, so exactly enough for the rad. The side air inlet here, it only supports 3 120s, so no way I could put a 14mm here, so this was the configuration I had to run with because that's the fans that I have. Ideally the radiator could be on top, and then I would be able to switch it around, but yeah, that's just not in the cards in the setup that it's running right now. I cannot say that I think it would make a difference in the temperatures having a 3120, 3120, because obviously the 400 centimeters will move more air, but yeah. I was at first missing the fender in the back. I just quickly ordered one relatively cheap fan there. It's a bit quiet, it does its job. And the temperatures did improve when putting that fan there. I did lower my overclock from 5.1 to 5.0 and the voltage as well to make the temperatures a bit more manageable, because they were getting a little bit on the higher side, and that meant also a bit more noise coming in. Speaking of which, cooling wise, the fact that I am using two 140s, it's not exactly ideal. There is a bracket that I would not need to use if I was using 120s, and that means that the fans are not exactly sitting flush with the base of the case itself. Instead of being screwed at the base of the case, they're screwed to the bracket, and the bracket is screwed then to the floor of the case. If I was running 120s, I could have them directly on the bottom of the case. It would mean that it would sit flush with the base, and that would most likely give a better airflow, because here there's a chance that air just goes in here through the edge. I'm not going to put my finger there. There's a chance that the air will just get slightly recirculated from the inside the case, and not necessarily all cool air pulled in from the bottom through the filter. So in a way, it would be nice, I guess, if this bracket was a bit closer to the bottom, or if the mounting solution for the 140 fans was actually just, you know, a few extra holes drilled at the bottom instead of an extra separate bracket. That might potentially mean a little bit more cool air inflow, but that's a tiny speck of criticism in what is otherwise a very good case. I do have some criticism to level at Lian Lee though. For starters, a few of the case cables are a bit lacking, I suppose. For example, the USB 3 cable, as you can see, it is very non-flexible, so it kind of I had a hard time actually getting it to look decent, to be honest. All the cables in my case are kind of yeah, they're just stock default cables. As you can see here, there's a loose PCIe there's a loose power cable just hanging here. Yeah, that's something that could possibly be fixed with a nice cable extension set, but there's a lot of other things that need to happen before I worry about custom cables. In any case, yeah, as you can see, they're not very flexible, so they just bend around. USB 3 cables are just kind of ugly and horrible by default. Same story for the SATA cables, and honestly the worst offender though, it would be the front panel audio cable, which is very ketchup and mustardy, as you can see. It could use a bit of better sleeving, to be quite honest. Another slightly more worrying flaw with this case though is the extension holders there, the brackets at the back where you, for example, have to kind of screw in your graphics card. They seem to not match up completely, and you do need to force them and slightly bend them a little bit to get your graphics card in. For example, when I was trying to put in my graphics card, I had to actually bend it a bit because the graphics card was stuck, literally stuck in the PCIe slot. Now, something that I was kind of looking forward to and ended up being a bit of a disappointment was the control buttons at the front for Aura. It's a ROG certified case, it's compatible with Aura, and I was kind of hoping that the mode buttons here would actually sync up with Aura and let you control the entire case lighting with the buttons at the front. That is sadly not the case. You have a button for mode and another button for color, and they only control the strip here at the front. You are able to control the strip via Aura. You just have to go in Aura and create a LED strip with 28 LEDs, which is the amount of LEDs on this front case strip. It's not automatic, it does not automatically detect it, and you have to go manually set it there. So it's not very plug and play friendly. I had to actually research what the problem was and why it was not controlling it with Aura. The buttons themselves, you have, like I said, color and mode, and they only control the strip. In this case, this bottom one is the color, and then you have the mode. And as you can see, only the strip is actually changing. You do have, the effects are pretty nice and fluid actually. They do look pretty great, even if on camera, on this camera at least, it's very hard to actually make it look nice. But they are extremely fluid, and the light diffuser here does its job pretty great. And the modes do look, well, entertaining, let's say. To actually get it to revert, to sync back with the motherboard and the rest of the lights again, you do have to go into Aura and just reapply the settings that you previously had. The last small gripe that I have, and maybe not necessarily with Lian, is, as you can see, the top panel there doesn't quite sit flush. You can see the light bleeding from the fans through the little gap, and that means that when the fans are going louder, that kind of rattles a little bit when the fans are going at higher RPM. Now, it's hard to say if the fault is of Lian's manufacturing, if it is from transport, from the vendor that I bought it from, or if I accidentally bent it myself in the building process. But in any case, that's something that you can potentially try to kind of bend the other way yourself. Now, not so much about the case itself, but in my particular build case, I gotta say I am quite pleased with the result, with the performance, and with how it looks. Obviously, aesthetically, there are points to improve. The fans in general are something that, well, I love them when I got them. I would not get the same ones today, but I'm also not in a rush to replace them or anything like that. So yeah, I would love to go with Corsair's ML or LL series. So yeah, if that ever comes across in the future, that's definitely something worth looking into. Yeah, other points of improvement, it is kind of dark in there, to be quite honest. That's possibly because the exhaust fan that I got was not RGB. I just wanted a cheap one. I did not want to get an RGB one that did not match these, and I also did not get another one of these because, yeah, why get more of a fan that you are not exactly completely thrilled about? I love them when I got them, but as you can see, the light diffusion is not the best. The fan blades are also dark, so they don't really diffuse that light along the blades either. So yeah, they leave a lot to be desired. So yeah, static points of improvement, those are quite obvious. A small RGB strip along the edge would also not be horrible. Looking at Fantex Neon Digital here, so also something to think about. Cable extension sets would also make it look a lot better and kind of be able to do the cable runs better with more flexible cables that don't have to hang like that PCIe Gen 3 there, or this power cable for the graphics card. That would also be a lot better, but again, also a point for the future. Other more pressing issues are the video card. Obviously, I'm kind of waiting on NVIDIA's next gen in the future to get an upgrade for that. I do need some storage upgrade in the near future because the videos are taking a whole lot of space, and I definitely would love to give a go to water cooling when well, but that would be after NVIDIA's new stuff comes out, obviously. Something that I also had mentioned in the past was the possibility of maybe sort of an infinity mirror mod at the front here against the front. It's something that I'm kind of double second guessing myself, because I don't think I could get it to look good enough to make justice to the case and not look cheap. Plus, if there will ever be a distro plate here where this is, then having the front plate covered by that mod would just take away from it, really. At the end of the day, I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. Obviously, it has the improvement points that I mentioned, but it is quite a sight to look at, and it's something that I feel a lot more confident when I am looking for partners to actually work with the channel. Difficult to give you guys proper footage because, well, ASUS Aura does not allow me to adjust brightness on most of these modes, so yeah, that's another reason why I kind of wanted to switch to IQ. So yeah guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like, comment, let me know what you guys think and what you think, what else I could improve on the build. Don't forget to subscribe to actually get us a bit further with the channel and help us grow and improve in the future. Have more resources like a camera that I don't have to hold with my hand while I'm filming this shot, for example, and it's not all shaky and stuff. And it will also help us get more partners, brand collaboration, and just more and better content for you guys, which is something that I would really like to do. So let me know what you guys think of the camera angles used on this video. If there's a camera angle that you think would look good to actually use as a standard from now on, as opposed to just the usual frontal shot that I usually do, because, well, now there's actually some nice piece of tech to look at. So if you guys think that would look better in videos, just let me know what your favorite is, and I'll work on well, making that the regular thing in the future somehow. So like I said, let me know your opinion on the build, drop it down in the comments below. Let me know what you think and how it could also be improved. Remember to subscribe, like I said, it costs you nothing. You can always unsubscribe at a later date if you don't like the channel. And that's what we need the most to grow right now, so really appreciate that. Hope I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. In the meantime, have fun.